Using these things is cheap or free. Is it? Tokens are getting more expensive. Language models will get cheaper by 10x, will not save AI subscriptions from the short squeeze. So no, nothing about this is free. In fact, everything about this is expensive. Here's an example. Models will get 10x cheaper, will have 90% margins. Token volume increases 10,000x, token volume increases 10,000x. So here's essentially what's happening. Yeah, Jason Cass, their ignorance was disheartening. I want you to understand the economics behind this, and you don't have to be a nerdy person to understand this. Tokens are what you pay for. Every time that there's a token, it's like when you type in a word, when you type in a prompt, that's what I meant to say. All of your words get turned into what's called a token. A token is just your word means something in a data sense. It's like a numerical value. And the LLM will take that numerical value, which represents your words, and then it will take other tokens and it will just smash things together and then give you a response, which is yet again more tokens. So all of this language stuff is all words as tokens. Just try and think about it that way. I'm abstracting a lot. It's not exactly like this, but it's good enough for the purposes of the finances behind this, why this stuff isn't free. So when you open up ChatGPT and it asks you for $20 a month, you might think that that's cheap, right? And so we had a bunch of idiots on there, particularly one leftist person who was quite clearly not a Kevin, and or a Kevin, I don't know, I don't even know anymore, and was saying something like, this stuff will generate 10 seconds of video for me and it's free, like this stuff is free. And I hear that on comments on my YouTube videos. People comment that, yeah, but it's free, it's capitalism, baby, it's free. Or $20 a month. For $20 a month, the output of these things is way more valuable than the $20 a month I get. So of course the cost benefit analysis for me is worth it. You guys are so wrong. It's not even funny how wrong you are. So this article goes over exactly that. I'll break even today at $20 a month. And when models get 10x cheaper, right? Because models will get smaller and they will improve, right? Companies will make more money. And people will pay the same amount of $20 for the same model they pay for today, but just smaller and cheaper and easier to run and faster. And so the losses are temporary. This is the hat you're putting on the hat of a executive in one of these companies. It's so simple, a venture capitalist associated could understand it. Year one, you break even at $20 a month. Year two, 90% margins as the compute operational cost of a model drops 10x. And then year three, you go shopping for yachts. The cost of LLM inference has dropped by a factor of 3 every 6 months. Will be fine. That's what the statistics claim, even though there's no actual proof of this. However, is that what we see? No, we don't see. Margins are getting worse. Why? Why are margins getting worse? Why are companies not able to turn a profit? Why are we spending trillions upon trillions of dollars per year on these AI systems and these companies cannot make a profit? Nobody wants yesterday's newspaper. This is why. Because as soon as a new model comes out that makes the older model run cheaper, less costly, more efficient, people want what? They want the new model overwhelmingly. Some people don't. You see this happen. Some people don't because they appreciate the way that the older model talks to them, whispers sweet nothings into their ears, transmits the nice electromagnetic frequencies that resonate, across the earth, with the ley lines and all of that stuff. It's locked in, and so they go to the older model for particular reasons. But most people don't want to pay $20 a month for an old model because that feels like you're getting scammed, right? Why am I paying the same price for an older model? You didn't reduce my price per month when you're now making it the older model. All you did was keep the same price point and make me pay for that for a new model and an old model. So what am I going to do? I'm going to maximize my money, which means I, as a consumer, am going to use the new model. The new model is not dropping in price per token because these new models do not have an inference drop, like a cost drop or a token drop. Geppetto 4 launched at $60. Everyone used it despite Geppetto 3.5 being 26 times cheaper. Claude 3 Opus launched at $60. People switched despite Geppetto 4 getting price cut. The 10x cost reduction is real, but only for models that might as well be running on a Commodore 64, which nobody wants to use. If these models were good enough, you wouldn't even need the newer models. You can see that there's a logical inference here, which is, why would you even need a newer model if these older models are good enough? Just stick to that and greatly reduce their cost and make a bunch of money. So it even gives this example. Cars are so much cheaper now, as you point to the 1995 Honda Civic. Yeah, that car is cheaper, but a 2025 Toyota Camry MSRP is at $30K. And the models themselves, they're not actually less expensive in the way that you think they are. As they become better and you do something like deep research, you're going to be spending something like, it gives an example. Deep research will spend 3 minutes planning, 20 minutes reading, another 5 minutes rewriting a report for you, while O3 will just run for 20 minutes to answer hello there. So what happens in actuality is that as these models get better, they also have only a 50% success rate. I want you to factor that in. And they take longer to get you the results, which means that you're eating up more tokens, because the longer it takes, you know, when you're watching that deep research and it's telling you what it's doing step by step, those are all tokens and you're paying for that. And as it takes longer for these things to get to the answer, it's just eating up more tokens, which is more of your money. No, these things are not free, nor are they cheap. They cost you money. They cost you way more than you think. And the cost of tokens is doubling every 7 months, simply because the cost or the length of AI doing tasks is doubling every 7. Well, what do you think that means? That means that as these things do deep research, and they take longer, and by the way, they only have a 50% success rate, that's it, right? It's just going to eat up more tokens. So no, these things aren't free nor cheap. They're extremely expensive. They only get more expensive. So today, a 20-minute deep research run costs about $1. By 2027, we'll have agents that can run for 24 hours straight without losing the plot. Combine that with the static price of the Frontier, that's $72 per run, per day, per user, with the ability to run multiple asynchronously. Right, Peercoin. This accounts for hardware. This accounts for that. Yes, it accounts for the hardware, because what it does is it looks back at the historical. Historically, hardware has become better along with the models, right? So it accounts for that progression. You can take what we have in modernity and historically, and then you can make a projection based on that alone. Once we deploy agents to run workloads for 24 hours asynchronously, which means you can run multiple of these, we're not going to be giving them one instruction and waiting for feedback. Now we have batches. So now we're going to be burning tokens even more. It is getting more complex, and therefore it's taking more time to run. But that it accounts for the fact that that happens even though the hardware has been getting better. As a matter of fact, it's been getting dramatically better because NVIDIA wants to produce these things in order to make AI faster, right? So you can take the two trends and you can map them over top of each other, and you can go, well, even though we have better hardware, it's still becoming more complex. And all of this token burning is just increasing, doubling up in token burning every 7 months, which means we're spending more and more and more money. Video generation, tokens. Image generation, tokens. Music generation, tokens. Any one of your single prompts that you're running to do things like give me a source for some scientific data, tokens. Write me the, the Zana Sutra, tokens. Give me a rat de cuck picture down here for an AI published peer-reviewed scientific paper, tokens. So the cost of these things is indeed becoming we're eating into it, which this is part of a major reason why these companies cannot become profitable. And as you add in better and better, quote unquote, newer and newer models, let's say newer, that's more accurate. As you add in newer models and they eat up more tokens, people jump to those, not the cheaper models. So now the question is, what are they going to try to do to cover up for this? Anthropic valiantly tries to cover the short squeeze. They've tried every trick in the book, still got obliterated. Here's what it was. Charge 10x the price point. $200 a month when Cursor charges $20. Start with more buffer before the bleeding begins. So start charging more, right? $200 a month, right? Auto scale models based on load. Switch from Opus to Sonnet when things get heavy. However, we've seen Cursor do this and it failed big time, because what it means is that you're paying monthly, thinking you're getting one model, or like the creme de la creme of models. But then what happens is you get these weird ass results in your code because Cursor changes the models based on weights and it doesn't tell you that it's doing it. Offload processing to user machines. Even when you do that, token consumption still went supernova. This is what happens when you run these models on people's machines. Even on people's machines, you're still using $34,000, $26,000, $19,000, $12,000, $10,000. These are people who are using Sonnet on their machines for Claude code. So even on your machine, you're still paying whopping amounts of money for the token usage you're extracting out of it. So no, these things are still not cheap. 10 billion tokens, that's 12,500 copies of War and Peace in a month. How? Even at 10-minute runs, how does someone drive 10 billion tokens? Turns out 10 to 20-minute continuous runs are just long enough for people to discover the for loop once you decouple token consumption from human time, in-app, physics take over, set Claude on a task, have it check its work, refactor, optimize, repeat until bankruptcy. And when these things start to run 24/7, you have a completely non-profitable. This thing is not profitable. It has exactly zero chance of being profitable ever. It can't happen, because as you try and decrease the cost, you increase the complexity, which increases the token usage, which counts for cost. You can't be profitable. So everybody's locked in and everybody's forced to have to use these models, and they think it's cheap right now. But that's why I'm saying in about 4 months or so, that was my prediction from 8 months ago. So there's 4 months left in this prediction. People are going to start to realize in very stark ways that this is a massive bubble, and that these people don't know how to make money off of this thing because they literally can't. And it's going to cause a lot of problems for the stock market. It's going to cause a lot of problems for the tech industry, etc. It's going to lead to some good stuff, but there's going to be a huge pain in the meantime. So there you go. Some financial aspects I wanted to get on record about what these things cost.